Sinners, because all is welcome over here in Smart Cookie House. How y'all doing tonight? How is everyone doing tonight? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for coming back live with me again tonight. You could be up in somebody's church begging you for money, but you ain't. You're right in here with me, and I thank you. Okay. Thank you, moderators. Y'all, please like this video, okay? Y'all know, subscribe to this channel. Why is 95% of y'all that's watching me not even subscribe? You know you want to do it. Subscribe to this channel, okay? But anyhow, tonight, yes, you saw the thumbnail. We are talking about Pastor Carlton Funderburk from Kansas City, Missouri. Hey, Linda. Hey, Jackie. Hey, girl. We are talking about this pastor, y'all. I don't know if y'all know it, but shout out to Larry Reed Live. I follow him. He's a YouTuber. He talks about church stuff. So you guys find him over on YouTube. If you into the church and you love the Lord and you like to laugh and you want to know what's going on with the scandals dealing with black churches and white churches too. Nonetheless, I gave a poll 11 hours ago and I asked you guys, do pastors have the right to demand money and gifts from the members? And out of the 66 people that came over here and voted, 97% of y'all said no. It was at 100% earlier, but some kind of way 3% slid on in. Some type of pastor slid on in and said, if the donations are low, yes. Well, listen here. Let me tell you something, y'all. Let me tell y'all a little bit about Smart Cookie. I am a paper Bible saved Christian, okay? I got saved at the age of 11 years old. Me and the Lord worked that out, and I know I'm going to heaven when I close my eyes and leave here. But I grew up in a small church, and put amen in the chat if you grew up in a small church. And, being in that small church made me say, you know what? When I get out of my mama's house and I get to college, I ain't ever going to church again. You know why? Because those small churches will make you do everything. I mean, you got to get out the choir to be the usher but you know what? I'm happy it was a good foundation. I'm glad that my mom put me in there. Hey, Tatiana, I see you, girl. I'm happy that my mom put me in church because it's formed me to be the good, wholesome woman that I am today. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people that don't go to church, they have no direction. They just out here just doing things like coleslaw, aka Ariana Big Ari Curry. Okay. And see, I knew better than to do things, and I knew how to handle myself accordingly because I went to church. I think that taught me a lot. You get to see a lot when you in church. But the churches of yesterday are not the churches of today because people's eyes have been open. Churches were like the first social scene. So things have changed from when I was growing up in the 90s, the 80s, when, church was like the major social thing for black people, especially, poor black people, right? Or working class black people. Church was the place where they went to socialize, get all the tea, that's where they went, right? So, some churches from back then, some people that grew up in church, they trying to conduct church today in 2022 like they conducted church way back when, right? And that ain't working for us. No, us millennials, us G-Zeners, us Generation X, we ain't going for that shit. Okay, we already know that there's multiple ways to give. You don't have to support the pastor's lifestyle and get him a big church and make sure he's driving the Cadillac, because that was a big thing when I was growing up. We know better than that. God don't only want the pastor living good and nobody else. Okay, he wants all of us living good. But a lot of these pastors still got these old school way of thinking, and they think that they are supposed to, hey, Christopher Todd, hey, G France, they think that we're supposed to still live like that. Yeah, I remember one instance where I used to go to church and the pastor would make people feel ashamed that didn't have the money to come. So what he would do is he would say, okay, he would start at $100. Everybody got $100, come down. This is their offering time. Bring $100. Then he'll drop down to 50. Then he'll drop down to 20. I mean, every bill that we had over here in these United States of America, he would claim it all till he got down to $10. And then he would say it's so sad, so melancholic. If you got $10, come on down. He wasn't as enthusiastic as he was when he said, "Oh, you got $100," and all this stuff, y'all, we know today was nothing but manipulation, okay? And people would feel bad because they wanted to give so bad, but they couldn't. But my pastor did some janky shit one time, and he told us, he said, "Okay, well, all the people they got food stamps, because back then this is when they had paper food stamps. If you got food stamps, bring those down." I mean, shortly after that, my mama said, "We are not going to this church anymore." And I couldn't understand for the life of me why my dad wouldn't come, why my mom was there, and it was mainly women. But men, black men, been knowing for a long time how these men are, and that's why they weren't going. So tonight, the subject pastor that we are going to discuss that's going around. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but you're going to see it right here. It's Pastor Carlton Thunderberg. Now, I'm trying to figure out how old Pastor Thunderberg sound like Thunderbird. I'm trying to figure out how old he is because his voice sound one age, then his face look one age, then his mannerisms and the way he act. I think he was probably raised by old folks, Maybe that's probably what the case was. He probably was raised by some older people. But I'm gonna let y'all hear good old Pastor Thunderberg, and y'all tell me what y'all think about this here lesson that Pastor Thunderberg has for you. Okay, this is his congregation that pays his bills. Okay, y'all listening.
See, that's how I know you still poor, broke, busted, and disgusted because of how you.
Hold on, let me get back up. Did y'all hear that foolery? Did y'all hear that foolery? Did y'all hear the people in the background? Come on. Just really encouraging this. Did y'all hear my cheap sons and daughters, Movado Watch, Sam's? Did y'all hear what I just heard? Let me play that one more time because I kind of fucked this up a little bit. I didn't press mute, but I'm gonna press mute. I'm gonna go back over and let y'all hear Pastor Carlton Thunderberg, and we're gonna talk about how old we think he is, and what's going on here with this congregation in the background. Okay, so we just heard this here foolishness. Hey, Tank. Who else stepped in the room? I'm gonna get over into these comments because y'all are paying it up. Oh, Tatiana, y'all couldn't hear the pastor? Yeah, okay, y'all didn't hear him. Oh, am I gonna? Well, some people can hear him. Tatiana, you didn't hear him. I'm gonna play it one more time. But yeah, that pastor said he want himself. We couldn't hear it. Okay, wait a minute. We can mob up two Sams. Get one on the low. Okay, I'm gonna play it in just a second, Tatiana, because a few people in here said that they could hear it. Oh, Chris is here. Hey, Chris. So if you did hear him, this pastor was talking to his congregation like that. Let me get over here and show y'all these here pictures of Pastor Carlton and his wife. I think that was that wife of his over there saying, come on and come on. And, I think that was her over there saying that. Let's get here to these good old pictures of these folks so y'all can have a better eye what they look like. That's Pastor and his sweet wife. His sweet wife. We gonna be nice, don't you? This wife didn't have nothing to do with it. Y'all be nice. She's really pretty on this picture here. Do y'all see that? First Lady Funderburk. She got some thing. Let me shut up. But that's First Lady Funderburk with her fascinator hat on. She looked cute there. This is Pastor Funderburk and his wife. STL, if you up in here, I know you might know these folks because they from St. Louis. She got the crochets going, all right. Pastor Funderburk. And then here's a picture of Pastor by himself. This is Pastor Funder. Oh, wait a minute. Here's Pastor Funderburk by himself. That was before he had the hair he was able to shake a few minutes ago. Yeah, so you pretty much see this pastor here. And let me come back over here to you guys. Yeah, that's him. Tatiana says, let me get to some of these comments. How old do y'all think he is? Tell me how old y'all think he is. I mean, just by the way he look. Tatiana says, I bet she's spending that money too. Linda says he better go to Walmart or to the dollar store and get him a watch for $12.97 with tax. Well, you get tax free if he used that church's 501c3. Mm-hmm. Oh hell no. France, no whip. Okay, G France was talking about buying this man a car. Oh no, G France, we not doing that no more. Okay, Jackie says she think he about 40. Tank says, "Where's the broke this in disguise children?" I don't know. I don't know if they have any children. But y'all hear him say, y'all don't honor me. Like, when did this man become Jesus? When are we supposed to honor the pastor? Yes, Linda, that's what I hear too. Like, when I close my eyes, I hear about 50 or 60 when I close my eyes and I hear this man talking mid 40s. But he sound like he been in the house with some older folks. The way he talk about how they owe him St. John, like that. I ain't heard nobody say no St. John's clothes in a long that stuff is sold at JC Penney and that nothing wrong with pennies, but that's sold at JC Penney's and at Coles. And how he know about some St. John's? G France says he doesn't look like a pastor. He looks like a black mafia. He looks like a guy that can't be trusted. Especially with that picture right there with this little red thing he got going. But this pastor is very suspect, and for him to say that, so he said that, right? And then all of us bloggers have been getting on his ass. So he came out with this here, y'all, that he said. Y'all bear with me just 1 second, and I'll be right back. Hold on. Bear with me. Just bear with me. Let me get my beautiful smiling face up here. And let me talk to y'all for just 1 second. But yeah, Pastor came out with an apology today. And y'all tell me about the apology. And Tatiana, you tell me if you can hear that apology once I get it on over here for you. So let me get back over here, take my beautiful face off. My beautiful 7th Avenue skincare line beauty products. Okay, let me put myself on mute and get on over here so y'all can hear this.
I'm the senior pastor of Church at the Well, right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I want to take this moment to address the now viral video clip of me from a sermon given August the 7th. Good evening. My name is Carlton Funderburg. I'm the senior pastor of Church at the Well, right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I want to take this moment to address the now viral video clip of me from a sermon given August the 7th, 2022. Though there is context behind the content of the clip, no context will suffice to explain the hurt and anguish caused by my words. I've spoken to those I am accountable to and have received their correction and instruction. I have also privately apologized to our church, who has extended their love and support to me. I'm privileged to do life with them. The video clip does not reflect my heart or my sentiments toward God's people, yet that's not discernible in the clip. Therefore, I offer this sincere apology to you today. No context could erase the words I used. I apologize to all who have been hurt, angered, or in any way damaged by my words. The zeal of any presentation must be tempered with love and respect. And that was not displayed. I apologize to the church at large for any undue scrutiny I have subjected you to. I apologize to every preacher and pastor who must stand up under the controversy that I have caused. To those who know and love me, thank you for your support. To those who now know me, because of this video clip, I regret that your first impression of me is one of anger, hate, and resentment. My actions and my words are inexcusable. I offer no justification or defense. That moment was mishandled and mismanaged. I deeply regret this moment, and I solicit your prayers and your forgiveness as we grow forward. Thank you. God bless you. Go with God, and He'll go with you. Good evening.
No, oh, y'all didn't hear none of it. Damn, let me see. Oh, y'all could hear it. Oh, it probably had the echo. I'm sorry, I'm gonna play it again. But what I heard was a bunch of word salad. I heard a bunch of mumbo jumbo word salad, words going all over my damn head. Church words, things I didn't understand. But break it down. What he was saying was, all the other pastors have called me and told me that I need to do an apology immediately tomorrow. They was gonna personally, one by one, come over by my house and stick their foot up my ass. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna find out which member in my church recorded me so I can get him or her up out of here with the quickness. And I need y'all to give that money. You know, I'm sorry that I put it out there that I put like worldly things like that, but I still need that money. And if you would ever so gently go in your purse and please get me some of that money, I'm gonna be a good pastor and I'm not gonna ever say no shit like that ever again. That's what I heard him say, pretty much. But I know it probably was a lot of echoing. But that man ain't sincere. He meant that shit. He meant that shit about he want McDonald's. I mean, he could have said Fogo de Child, but he said McDonald's and Movado watch, um this here ain't right. It's not right. Pastors are supposed to be creating disciples, but these people of today, what they want to do is they don't want you becoming disciples and healing the world and healing people. They want you stuck right at their church, giving all their money like back in the day. These pastors, they kind of like how these new modern men are. They want times to go back to the 1950s where they could just go to the doctor for you, get you a pill, a Valium, aka a Xanax, so you can just be sitting on the couch like a little robot waiting on them at home all day. And that's really how some of these pastors of these smaller churches are. Because when somebody new try to come in and tell them, oh, you need YouTube, you need to come up to 2022, you need to stream, these are other ways of making, money, you need to write a book. Oh, no, they don't want to do that shit. No, they don't want to do the hard work. They want you coming out your purse, giving it 10%. They want to see your bank statements. They want to see how much money you make at the job, and they want to squeeze all the money they can up out of you. Pastor Funderburk, we want you to know this ain't it. Let me play it one more time, and then I'm gonna open up the floors of the church. The floors of the panel will be open, and y'all can come on up. But let me play that without all that echoing, so y'all can hear these lies and discuss that Pastor Funderburk was over here talking. Y'all, hold on, give me 1 second.
My name is Carlton Funderburk. I'm the senior pastor of Church of the Well, right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I want to take this moment to address the now viral video clip of me from a sermon given August the 7th, 2022. Though there is context behind the content of the clip, no context will suffice to explain the hurt and anguish caused by my words. I've spoken to those I am accountable to and have received their correction and instruction. I have also privately apologized to our church, who has extended their love and support to me. I'm privileged to do life with them. The video clip does not reflect my heart or my sentiments toward God's people, yet that's not discernible in the clip. Therefore, I offer this sincere apology to you today. No context could erase the words I used. I apologize to all who have been hurt, angered, or in any way damaged by my words. The zeal of any presentation must be tempered with love and respect, and that was not displayed. I apologize to the church at large for any undue scrutiny I have subjected you to. I apologize to every preacher and pastor who must stand up under the controversy that I have caused. To those who know and love me, thank you for your support. To those who now know me because of this video clip, I regret that your first impression of me is one of anger, hate, and resentment. My actions and my words are inexcusable. I offer no justification or defense. That moment was mishandled and mismanaged. I deeply regret this moment, and I solicit your prayers and your forgiveness as we grow forward. Thank you. God bless you. Go with God, and He'll go with you. Good evening. My name is Carlton Funderburk. I'm the senior pastor of Church of the Well, right here in Kansas City, Missouri. Good evening. My name is Carlton Funderburk. I'm the senior pastor of Church of the Well. See, that's how I know you still poor, broke, busted, and disgusted, because of how you've been honoring me. I'm not worth your McDonald's money. Come on. I'm not worth your Red Lobster money. I ain't worth your St. John, Nick. Y'all can afford it no how. I ain't worth y'all Louis Vuitton. I ain't worth your Prada. I'm not worth your Gucci. Mother, I'm saying this, and I promise you, Deacon, it's not with respect of one. I'm saying it because I want you to understand just what God is saying. I even found out that Movado, you can buy a Movado watch in Sam's. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And y'all know I asked for one last year. Here it is the whole way in August. I still
ain't got it. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters.
There you have it. There you have it. Let me kick down the door and talk to my cheap sons and daughters. So y'all just come on up here and grab this link and have Pastor Funderburk up. I give you permission over here. Fair use, fair use. I give y'all permission over here to light his ass on up. I'm just sitting back waiting. I'm waiting. I want to hear what y'all have to say. And shout out to the person at Pastor Funderburk's church who recorded this at the back. Please don't get caught. Stay safe. If you need some help, please send me a message over at I Am Smart Cookie in my DM, and I'll send you a little gas money or whatever you need. If Pastor Funderburk over there trying to mistreat you, okay, and trying to take away your phone, we're gonna make sure you keep a phone because these types of things need to be exposed. The churches are supposed to be helping the poor people, not taking and siphoning away from the poor people. They supposed to be helping. Yes, we got good old Chris, brother Chris. Chris is coming on. How you doing tonight, brother Chris?
Hey, I'm good. How you doing?
In church, they trying to
I'm hearing reverb.
church today in 2022. Okay, so Chris, what you have to do is you're gonna have to get out of YouTube and come just be over here in StreamYard. You're gonna have to get off. And it sounds like you a little bit behind, but the doors of the cookie floor is open, and we finna to light up Pastor. As soon as Chris get everything situated, I'm gonna unmute him. We're gonna check on him after I read a few of these good here comments. Tank says, "Can I do it in my Kirk Franklin or Steve Harvey suit? Too light to light his ass. You surely may. We don't care what you wear over here, okay?" Linda says that nigga needs his ass kicked right in the girl. Come on now, Linda. Security should have came up. I think that man was trying to come up. If you notice, it was a man that ran up to him like, brother, you going too far. So I would like to know what was being said, but that was definitely his wife that walked on over there and said, "Sure did. Come on, my husband have been asking for." She should have bought the Movado. G. France say, did he say you're not honoring? Yes, he said you're not honoring me. As though he was Jesus, as though he paid it all, as though he hung on the cross himself. When were we supposed to honor these here pastors? See, and a lot of people don't read their Bible, but they don't understand. Even Jesus got mad, and that's why he threw the tables over. He flipped the table. See, he did it first, not Teresa DeGucci. Judice, he did it first. Okay, brother Chris is coming right on back on up.
Now everything good.
This is much better. So what you think about Pastor Funderburk?
Pastor Funderburk needs to take his ass on. First of all, you should be able to. You asking for a Movado from last year, and you still ain't got one this year. Go get your own shit, because I know you reckon in some tithes and offering.
Yes.
Why is you asking all that? And then how petty it is. You asking about a Movado? Cut it out, sir. Movados are nice. Don't get me wrong, but you focusing on the wrong thing right now. Make sure your roof is tight. Make sure that the pews is straight and you get new carpet and everything in your church is right.
Exactly.
You worried about the wrong thing.
Chris, so do you think that pastors should have a job?
I believe that the pastors, it depends on what stage they are in pastoralship. My pastor was a fireman until he was able to commit to full time to support his family before he became a full-time pastor. So it depends on where you are in your career and in your life to be able to determine what way you need to go. And then begging for money and stuff like that is not the thing. And then trying to count down like $100 person here, $50 here, $20 here, especially when it's for yourself, that's not the case. Now, if you're a visiting pastor going to preach for an anniversary or something, maybe you can ask for people to come down and make donations. But to try to break it down like that, I think that is completely not the case. That's what you're not supposed to do, because everybody ain't got it like that, and nobody wants to be embarrassed and put out there like that.
Exactly. We're gonna get to the embarrassment. Hello, brother Gordo. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How you been, Miss Cookie?
I'm
It's
doing
been a while. It's been
great.
a while.
It has been a while. So, what do you think about Pastor Funderburk shaming his congregation about not buying him a Movado collar, them cheap, broke, poor, and all these names? What do you think about pastors that's doing that in 2022?
Smart Cookie, I don't know. All I know is that we know he is showing his fruits. He's showing his true colors. And this is not the way how he has to do service. For him to say that y'all disgusted and broke, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not it. Because if I was to hear that, I would have walked away, or before I walk away, I will question him at the church, like, why would you say things like that? This is really not God at all. This is Satan talking. It sounds like you desperate for something because no one's paying tithes or anything because they seeing what you're doing behind the scenes. Because if that is the case of it, then it makes sense no one's coming to your church because how you behave, and I would not even go there. And I think he needs to be questioned very hard. The congregation needs to be questioning very, very hard, because when he does that, that's how people are going to be driven away from church. And they'll talk about, this is why I don't go to church, which I can understand that, because there's no compassion and there's no love there. And what I seen, it seems like he's really talking down with judgment here. And this is the last days, and that's so. This is really not it. Because when I was listening to this Smart Cookie, and I think you know this in the scripture, because I was reading Luke chapter 5 verse 33, where Jesus was hanging with the sinners, all kind of sinners. It doesn't matter what kind of sin they did. He was sitting with them, fellowshipping with them, let them know who he is and how they look at him with showing compassion and love. Because in the beginning, where it talks about John 16, it says he does not come here to condemn, he's come here to save them. And that's why we're not supposed to condemn, because when the Pharisees came by and seeing Christ was talking to with the sinners, he was asking, like, why are you hanging with these outcast people here? He said, look, man, these people are sick and need a hospital. And next he also said to them, I did not come for the righteous. I come to save them, and I come here for their repentance, which
Real
they
talk.
have.
Real talk. Yes,
Mhm.
sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I think the thing is, Smart Cookie, people need to like read the book for themselves and know who is Jesus and what he's about. Because it shows you who he is, his character, and everything. Instead of people reading the book for them, they need to go read the book for them, know who he is. And once they know who he is, like, okay, wow, how they behave is not Christ-like. So yeah.
Exactly. And for that reason, I don't go to church either. And I was going to ask you, as being black men, is that the reason why y'all don't go to church? Because is it something that y'all hear at the barbershop, or how do y'all know not to go to church? How have y'all been knowing for a long time? Why are there more women in church? Do these men say, oh yeah, I scammed all these women out this money at church last week, it's a game? Have y'all heard this before? Why don't y'all attend church?
Yes, I heard this before all the time. Yeah, my barber, school, college, even from my certain family there. Absolutely. One thing I would say, I do appreciate from them telling me this so I could be aware, so you can know what church you're going to. Because my thing is this: it is good to go to church so you can fellowship with one another. But the thing is that I understand that people talk about other people, but the thing is this, that we have to understand each other's, like, hey, look, I understand I am not where you at, but you have to understand I also know what you do. So let us just try to hold all of each other accountability, come together and have a real talk to really get to sit down, get to know each other, just how Christ fellowship with everyone and sit down, to talk to one another, even when we don't know each other. And that's the thing. And also why there's more women in the church, because I don't think it seems like men are not holding each other accountability. And I don't think men are not being watchmen anymore. It's like they see things, but being quiet and minding their own business and just being quiet and be paid with hush money. So the thing is, it's like, I don't think they don't have the heart of Christ. I don't think they don't have what takes to follow Christ, because even Christ says that if you love your family, you're not worthy of me. You can't be my disciple, love worthy of me. You have to you have to follow me and be aware of everything, and speak the truth, because remember, they hate Christ because he speaks the truth, because they ruined the Pharisees fun, if you want to say it that way. Yeah. I mean, yeah, this, you know that part where Jesus confronted the Pharisees, Mark Cookie, and look what happened. Yeah.
Most definitely, I know. Chris, why don't you go to church anymore? Did you know that these pastors, it was a plan for them? Do you know that they're playing with God? What has discouraged you from going?
Well, I always been going to church. I grew up in my church, and my pastor has said Chris is the only one who grew up in the church and raised his daughter in the church, and she's going off to college and doing my thing. My daughter is still active the same way I'm still active. I'm a youth leader, a youth usher supervisor, and I'm a trustee. But the reason why I attend my church so much is because there's biblically sound preaching. And then also I studied the word for myself, which
There you
includes
go.
Sunday school, Wednesday night fellowship, Wednesday night Bible class and so forth. So I was able to learn the word so that when I was sitting there listening to my pastor on Sundays, I knew exactly where he was coming from. And being able to identify biblically sound preaching by studying and learning that yourself, you would be able to determine if you're in the right place for you or not. And our pastor has always been honest with the congregation, and I knew him personally growing up. He's older than me. I grew up with his kids, and I've been in my church since a long time. It's been 35 years, 36 years where I've been in my church, and I know biblically sound preaching. I've learned. I don't know. I've learned biblically sound preaching, and that's why I'm faithful in my church service right now to this day, because my pastor speaks the truth and he is honest, and I've seen the things that he's done for individuals through his discipleship and also have done for me in my discipleship, and it's not monetarily whatsoever. I seen him do something monetarily for one guy way back when I was about 12 years old, where he collected up an offering. And then one guy, and then pastor said, did anybody didn't have no money to be able to put in or whatever? One guy raised his hand, and he wasn't a stooge or somebody put in place. Pastor said, I'm gonna reach my big old hands in here and give you the money out of this offering. And then the guy didn't want to take it, he stuffed it down his sweater. So my personal experience is just learning biblically sound preaching and be able to apply and listen to individuals who have biblically sound preaching and be able to determine what it is that I know that's right and then not right, and being able to decide where I'm going to serve, or where I'm going to be involved with, or what pastors or preachers I support.
And spread the gospel, man. Spread the word, man.
Spread the
That's
word.
great. So I hear what you're saying. You're saying it only works for you because you're in a Bible-based church where they're speaking straight from the word, and
Biblically
you
sound,
understood.
yes.
Yes. So you understood the word, so they could never tell you no stuff like evil is good, because you know that ain't nowhere in there.
Exactly. Or when I hear something that I don't agree with, whether if it's my personal opinion I don't agree with, or whether I know that it's not biblically sound, I'm not trying to hear that anymore.
So you challenge their interpretation. You don't let them just interpret it any type of way to you. And you the trustee, so you over the money, so you know what's what on that
No,
money.
I don't deal with the money.
Oh, okay.
I'm just a trustee to make sure the money gets to where it needs to go for the financial individuals, because I go to a larger church. No, I don't deal with the money whatsoever at all. I don't know nothing financial.
God is our
Yeah,
source.
I don't
God is
care.
our financial. He's our provider. I ain't for real, seriously. Be in the
Yeah.
Tank,
spirit.
why don't Tank, why don't you go ahead and hit the link? And also, we want to welcome Lex Spades Life TV. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming. But yeah, we up here. We are lighting into Pastor Funderburk. Let's get to Lex Spades' comment. He made a lot of sense, and I was thinking about that too. His name is Funderburk. He says, with a last name like Fund, it shouldn't be surprising. Look at all these pastors' names: Peter Popoff, Creflo Dollar. No pastor fund a bag. Yeah,
Indeed, last name Dollar. That tell you something right there.
yeah, because he could change that name to anything. But I feel like pastors of today, a lot of them are more innovative with their money because they've heard the pastor's getting all the money, the pastor's living high off the hog. So like you'll notice like a TD Jakes, like he has his own he has several businesses, but he has like a production company that does movies. He writes books along with other good speaker. What's his name out of Houston? Joel Osteen. You know, a lot of these people will write their own books and stuff. They're
And that's
getting the money
fine.
from the people. They just getting it a different type of way.
Yeah, and that's absolutely fine. My thing is, pastors shouldn't, in my opinion, if the church isn't up to date, you keep the carpet fresh, you keep the grounds looking good, or whatever, and you keep the sanctuary looking nice, and then people are able to contribute it, and then be able to show with plaques up like this person bought this bench or whatever from way back when fundraising to try to get something new. I'm okay with that. But
And
if
be
I'm
a
not.
watchman in the
If
holy
you do
but if the
something,
tabernacle
church
as
is
well,
looking raggedy and then you sitting out coming out here looking fresh, that's an issue with me. But as long as
but
the property grounds and so forth is fresh, and then me personally being able to be involved with making sure, oh, this is nice, or this is whatever. Oh, Chris, you put them grills together, but you didn't tighten them up right. We bought the grills, you know what I'm saying? Because you said you wanted the grills. Make sure the grills is tightened up right because they a little raggedy.
but
Get
if
things
if
together.
you're doing something for the church, you shouldn't need no acknowledgement. All these,
No,
you
no,
know,
I wasn't acknowledged. I was criticized.
no. I'm saying other people that they have these little names on these benches and stuff. We need to do away with all of that. Like we know better. Like
Yep.
if you do something from your heart, it needs to be from your heart. Your reward is in heaven. But if it's your business, right? Like keeping the grounds, yeah, the church got to pay somebody for that anyway. Yes,
hmm
I don't think they should acknowledge it, but I definitely think they should pay. They shouldn't try to get away with telling somebody, oh, well, the Lord is going to bless you for cutting the grass. No, you should be on a part of that
Oh
payroll.
no, you on payroll. Everybody's on payroll. But the thing is, when I was talking about the benches, it was like just when you're trying to get something new or whatever, it'd be like, oh, you're gonna contribute some money or whatever, or you and somebody else in your family, go ahead and they have a small little plaque. It's not big, it's not outstanding. Half of the people probably at my church, I go to a church with about 2,000 people, probably over half of them ain't never even seen the plaque. But I know that they was there because of my intricacy of learning, of knowing what was done.
Chris,
And being able to contribute money for like bricks outside of one of the doors for the schools, I made sure that I paid for the bricks so that my daughter, my mama, and my name was just established here. Now, it's not nothing outlandish. You would never see it. If you didn't look down, you would never see it. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing like that. So it's not about recognition. It's just about, it's just about, well, I can't say that it's not about recognition. It's about these are the people who helped make this happen so that your kids and your family and whoever will be able to go there. Just because you wasn't able to do that, it's not, you're not spoken down upon because you wasn't able to do that. And it broke me to try to do that. And it was only like a $250 brick. But at the time I was 20 something years old coming out of school, but I wanted to contribute and then have my family's name recognized there so that, you know, because that's what I felt personally, and I want to do that. There's a lot of other things that I wasn't able to do. I'm not a regular tither, which I should be, but I'm not. I give and I support, but I also support by being present and being
Yeah,
a
there's multiple ways to tithe. You don't
there's many
necessarily, you
ways.
may not have money. If you want to come and volunteer, I feel like that should be just as accepted, or they should be grateful that you come and volunteer.
Yes.
If you don't
Yeah.
always have money, I don't believe in that 10%. That 10% is Old Testament. The Old Testament, I feel like, served the purpose to show us of how ruthless God could be. The New Testament, Jesus came and lightened
Yes,
things up a little bit.
absolutely. The New Testament
And
is what we're supposed to live by, not the Old, because the Old Testament was before Jesus came and died and recognized our sins. The New Testament is what we're supposed to live by, because if that's the case, a thief would get their arm cut off.
correct. And then with Jesus said, if you give a little, I'm gonna give you a little. If you give a lot, I'm gonna give you a lot. So you have free will to make your own decision on what you're gonna do as far as that
Yes.
goes. But he also said the poor will always be amongst us.
And be a cheerful
So,
giver too.
Yeah,
and
be
he loves a
cheerful.
cheerful giver,
Though,
not an
because some
angry
people might give
giver.
out of resentment or feel like they're giving out of obligation, but that doesn't do anything spiritually for you in your life.
No, if you giving angry, you might as well not. You might as well
You
keep
might
it
as well
on to
not even
yourself.
give out a resentment. No, you can keep that, because we're gonna make it one way or another. Somebody gonna give a discount on a new air conditioning system, or
Hmm.
discount on this or that. It's gonna come. Whatever that
Because
happens,
remember,
that happen,
God
it's gonna
knows your heart, so He know what
yes,
the intention was.
yes, absolutely.
So, but yeah, I just can't believe we got people in 2022 still trying to live out like how pastors used to in the 80s and 90s, trying to trick people or manipulate people into giving all of this money and allowing them to live better than everyone else.
Hmm.
If you in a church, you guys, and it's like that, please record them, expose these pastors. These people need to be held accountable. That's why God closed a lot of these doors to these churches with this pandemic, and a lot of these people perish because they were doing all this craziness, foolishness.
Okay. There
Yep,
you go. There you
yep.
go. You said it right there, Smart, because that's what I was going to say. Because I believe that when that pandemic hit, it was crazy. And it's like people, I think all this purpose is happening because people are showing their true colors. And it was like, yep, to get their attention. And it's like, Smarker, you and I both know that we know this since the 90s and it is happening. But it's like now when the pandemic is here, now people are starting to see it, when God's like, okay, I'm going to get their attention. So, yeah. Hmm.
Yep. Yeah, but this is also a criticism upon people who go to church. If you don't learn the word, if you just go there for the service and put on your suit and just go there and be there and then leave, but not actually take Christianity seriously, that's a thing on you.
Thank you.
That,
Exactly.
that that is on you as an individual. You need to find a church where you feel comfortable with, where you know that there's biblically sound preaching, but you can't learn biblically sound preaching if you're not going to Sunday school and Bible class. And it's not just that, but reading the word and then reading other books that will give you the enlightenment and the knowledge to be able to make the correct decision. So if you're just trying to go there on Sunday like it's a routine because you stopped going out on Saturday night, that right there is an indictment on the individuals who are still supporting these individuals. That goes the same 50-50. 50 on the preacher, 50 on the participant.
Yes. Well, we want to welcome Lex Spades. How you doing tonight, Lex Spades? What do you have to say on the Pastor Funderburk shaming his congregation, probably not having a job, asking for things, asking for people to honor him? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, good evening, everyone.
Hey, how you doing, Lex?
I'm good. I'm good. I hope you all are doing good as well. Well, I'm gonna say this. I think that in the time that we're in these days, pastors still run the old playbook, like you were saying. Um, I think that too many pastors get into the habit of loving the charismatics of being a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the problem with that is that the congregation give so much shine to that, and that's a big problem.
That whole time, but ain't saying nothing.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
because they was cheering that pastor on. They was like, "Yes, you're right. You didn't get
Right.
your Movado watch."
Right. But that's the problem. I mean, if you would think about it, and that shows you the difference between people who actually will be studying their word, even pastors who are actually in their word. You stepped into that place with a job to do. Now, whether you get dollars, penny, or wooden nickel, your job is to be a pastor. It's not all about monetary gain. There are people hurting, people who are hopeless, jobless, sick, every facet of life, which gives people the thought of, I can't make it, I'm hopeless, I'm down, I feel sad, I feel sick.
Spiritual leader. Go ahead.
This is not your way into wealth, so to speak, to be taken from the people. And you guys said not too long ago that Old Testament and New Testament. I think it's very funny that when you actually study, well, we know even Paul and Peter, when they were alive in their days, they never read from anything called the Old Testament or New Testament. They just had solely scriptures. But when you read the New Testament, you can see that Peter and Paul, they rarely focus on anything called tithing. What you see them always did was they were always speaking of being generous in your offering. But when they did that, they will always take those monies or whatever they accumulated and redistribute it amongst the people. They never kept that stuff. Now, if it's of your heart to give to whoever is, delivering the word, that's fine. But I don't think you should do anything out of in obligation because a man said so. And every time these pastors do that, they just keep reminding the woke people just how bad this thing could be within our faith and our belief. And when things like that happen, the first thing people do is say, well, if that's what God's about, I don't want to be a part of that. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. There's also that part where churches, there's a religious side, and then they need to be able to handle business expenses in order to go out and
Absolutely.
create or save lives. So, because we got energies, but the power bill and the water bill and the electric bill and the maintenance is not going to come for free because you're in service. So that's where many of the monies that they that are being created is supposed to go to, so that they can minister to more individuals. It's not for
Absolutely
to put in a pocket.
That's understandable. But you don't go out and be like, oh, I need that.
Yeah,
need that watch.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
That watch, I get you a Timex from Walmart, and you be straight. You gonna be able to tell the time. Or I get you.
You will be wearing a sundial next week, sir.
I get you a 12-pack of batteries with your Timex, and you gonna know exactly what time it's supposed to be.
Do you guys think that these four walls, because a lot of it is putting pressure on having the actual building itself? Because when Jesus and Peter and Paul, they were walking around, they were not in no one spot, glamming it up, making it, you know what I mean?
Here's what's so funny about you saying that. After the destruction of the temple in 70 AD, a lot of the believers had no place to go. So what did they do? They often met in each other's house. They worshiped together. Wherever they could go, that's where they would give worship. It doesn't necessarily have to be a building, but wherever two or more you gather together, and that is scripture.
Yes.
There he is in the midst of y'all.
Prosper, you know that?
That's right.
Yes, and it's not the church is not where the saving of lives goes down. It is about all of the members who congregate at the church and then
That's
go
right.
out in the community and then go out and serve and bring new lives to Christ, and then they come back to the church to
That's
be
right.
able to worship. So the even like my job, like the work ain't in the office. You got to get out in the field.
That's right.
Well, they're not, these pastors are not equipping people to do that. They want to be
Some
the
of these
only one
pastors,
with the not, yes. A
And that's a
lot of
good
them are
point.
not. They're not creating disciples. They don't want you to leave
exactly,
this church and create your own church.
And that's a
exactly.
good
They
point
don't
right
want
there,
you
Miss
to
Smart
outdo
Cookie.
them.
Yes,
That's a good point because I'm not gonna say not all. I'm saying some pastors are not making them disciple because the one thing I can think of could be the reason why is it because they want to have money for themselves. I don't know, or it
Right.
could be more than that. I'm not really sure, but that is the funny part because Jesus says when he after he rose from the dead, and before he was going back to heaven, he was telling him that, look, man, make sure get people saved and baptized in his name and create more disciples.
yes,
So yeah, so
amen.
that's the
Yep.
weird part right there.
Yeah, that's the place. And then also, I think that it's important when we talk about an edifice or a structure to have a place where individuals will be able to come to worship and worship safely and be there and then get the word and then also be able to learn while they're in these structures and edifices. Because if you
Mhm.
don't have a church, it's kind of hard to be able to monitor, oh, somebody's at this house, somebody's at that house, and they're hearing all these different words. If you, that's where I think the importance is of structure, so that you can come in to this building and then make sure that you get biblically sound preaching, not only from the preaching, but then also the Sunday school teachers and also other individuals there. But then it's also important to have a place to fellowship so that you can be involved in different ministries at the church, and then you never know,
Right.
somebody else might be going through the same thing that you're going through,
Right.
and y'all could share conversations with each other and be able to bring each other up. So to me,
Well,
that is the
the
importance. That
word
is the
says it's
importance.
important for us to assemble. We need to assemble, but
Yes.
we're assembling right here, right now, right?
Yeah,
If
Yes.
we're
which is
if
a
we're on
great
the,
thing.
if we're on this if we're believing the same God, if we believe that Christ is God and we're really trying to serve them, then okay. We're not
But
perfect, but we're
there,
doing our best I can. Okay.
yes, but the fellowship of interaction when you look at each other, when you be able to give each other a hug and be able to have intimate conversations outside of virtual and be able to look at a person in their eye face to face and then have your kids fellowship with them or your parents fellowship with them and you be able to
No,
fellowship with
I
others,
don't think we
that
should
is
be
way
I don't
more
think we should be
important.
holding on to that tangible hugs and all that, because it's gonna get bad, y'all. It's
You ain't
gonna
never
come to
need a
a
hug.
time where we're not gonna have these churches. Just like when the pandemic happened, we couldn't go in and physically assemble, but this
Right.
still counts as assembling.
It
We're two
counts
or
as
more
assembly.
gathered.
It counts as assembly, but sometimes me personally, sometimes I need a hug or I need to look somebody in the eye. I need to have a personal conversation in the corner with somebody, personally
A
looking
shoulder to
face
lean
to
on.
face.
Yeah.
So
There's a old saying that two coals 10 feet apart can't stay warm, but if you you put them together, they'll stay warm.
ooh,
And I
That's true.
and I think
jewel.
that is the
That's a
greatest
jewel.
part about fellowshipping with each other.
Exactly.
We can be as distant from each other as much as we want and love the Most High all we want to. But just as the brother was saying, it's something about being together when we're able to give each other that testimony, which sparks the hope in each one of us. Because I don't know what you've been through, but once I start speaking about what I've been through, I don't know how that word is going to change somebody and say, "Oh, look, I was wondering how I was going to make it through that. You just gave me and showed me how I can do that, and I thought I was the only one." So it's Christ works through us through our personal testimonies more often than
There
not.
you go, Lex.
You
There you
know,
go.
A
and
personal face to face interaction.
that's right. That's right.
Hmm.
I would just feel more comfortable if these churches would teach people how to make money instead of just taking from people.
Well,
You
well,
know,
well,
when
you
people
go
have
to the
money,
wrong
then
There
they
would be
can
no church then.
you go to the
say it
wrong
again, like
churches.
I said there would be no church then.
No, it would be. I mean, I would say the first thing first is humble yourself.
I think that people would still go, especially, you know, anyone, you if someone put you on, they show you how to make some money, you're gonna
Yeah.
want to be around that person, you know. And I feel like churches need to, you know, offer discipleship and stop being so stingy. And you know, they need to stop, these pastors need to stop being like that. They need to stop being like Pastor Funderburk, using that old play that don't work no more, that
Yep.
does not work anymore. That's why somebody recorded him, because they were sick and disgusted with his behavior. But I want to ask y'all this before we get out of here. What do y'all think about this apology that he gave? We're going to start with Gordon first.
What's the question? I'm sorry.
What do you think about this apology that Pastor Funderburk gave?
Okay, the apology. First, I'm going to say I don't know the pastor. I don't know his background. I just seen him today as you show us, and by listening to this, I'm going to say it's sincere. But I want to say this though: what you say in that pulpit, whenever you preach the word of God, it comes from the mouth. It comes from mouth. It comes from your mouth from God. Because when you preach the word, when God gave you the word and you study to get ready for Sunday, so therefore the message can be delivered, so they can either leave church and learn from this, so therefore they could get the will of God and the blessings from God, everything from there. So my thing is this: why is he apologizing if he believed this is the word that God comes from his mouth?
Church.
You get what I'm saying? Because the thing is this: when you're preaching, this is a serious thing. This is not a joke or anything like that. Because the thing is this: every time I go to church, every Sunday, as now, the Reverend always talks about, like, when every time I'm in my office, I always make sure I pray and make sure I have God give me the word from this today, so I could deliver this message, and this message right. So therefore, I have no regret. When the word is right, the word is right, and be careful with it. Because the thing is, if you're not, you're going to be judged when this world is over. That's the thing. So I'm wondering, is like, has he ever thought about that? If when this day come being judged by God, that's something you got to think about. So why apologize if you believe that's the word from God for you to talk like that? That's what I'm wondering.
I believe that it could be some sincerity in his apology. I do believe that the Most High can make you see your mistakes through your folly. By him being able to see this video all throughout the internet and playing, I think it may have gave him a chance to see himself and see where he needed the correction at. And like I said, we nobody here is past being unrighteous or being a righteous person and the most perfect person. We all make mistakes. And sometimes our mistakes have a way of showing up for us to see and to correct that thing. So it's not impossible that God had used this to be like, well, see what you did, and look at all the disruption and breach that you brought between, and hurt that you brought between you and my sheep. You got to fix this thing, man. And that's the possibility that what may have happened. It could be some sincerity there. But my thing is, this is something that you have to think about beforehand as a pastor. And I'm sure, any pastor is supposed to have some wisdom. This is not the first time I'm sure that he's ever heard anything like this. It's all these numerous pastors, it's happening every day. The big names, the small names, about money.
Right,
So
okay.
in there, it should be somewhere in his mind, look, I can't be like that. I cannot do this. This is the word of God. I'm a man of God. So that's what it's about and everything. But this sobered him up quick. I can say that.
Okay, Chris, what you think about the apology?
I think I agree with the two gentlemen who spoke before me in several degrees, but then I
Chris, I'm
also
sorry, man. I can't really hear you if you put it up.
oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Okay. I agree with a few things that you gentlemen have said, um, but also I think there's an aspect of you should be studying the word before you get up there and speak. As you prepare your sermon before you get up there and speak, and again, I go back to biblically sound preaching and not hearing biblically sound preaching. And then when you get your card pulled on it, then you want to go to apologize. But again, we all make mistakes. None of us, we are all human. But when you, but when a person is a pastor or a minister, period, minister, reverend, minister, pastor, whatever, you should be sure that your sermon is biblically sound preaching so that you won't have to encounter this type of situation. And it's also depending on the maturity of the individual in their spirituality.
Mm.
This pastor or pastor may not be as mature as what he should be, and he's learning maturity and so forth when he's doing his preaching and so forth. But there's something about when you, but to me, when you're talking about what you should be getting and buying for yourself, and I've heard these preachers before, that tells me a lot about your character.
Mm.
Because if you are really studying the word and you went to theology school and you're reading books, there's nothing talking about what I should have, especially materialistically. So that tells me a lot about that. And I think it's just a save your face ploy when he got up there and was saying those things about, I didn't mean to disrespect this or that or whatever.
Right.
I think it was just like, oh, my fault, man, my bag. I ain't know, when somebody pulled your card. But the sincerity of it is going to play out and learn a little bit later as he continues to serve his congregation and see if this comes out again or see how that all plays out. So it's a careful balance between making sure that you are biblically sound preaching and then learn the mistake that you made when you were preaching, because you may have learned from an individual, your senior pastor, because every pastor will most likely have a senior pastor that they grew up under. They would be able to learn from them and then be able to make sure that this same mistake won't happen again, either to grow mature or finagle a way to try to do it somewhere else later.
Well, thank you. I believe like Chris said, I believe that he knew that he messed up. Hindsight is 2020. He looked back on it, and I feel like the sincere person, but everybody can change. God gives us all this grace, and mercy.
Amen.
So he could possibly have been convicted, and his heart could have been circumcised, and he felt like what he did was sincerely wrong. But
Wait,
I think
you said his heart was circumcised. We're gonna cut that out right there.
Hey, Smarty, you're in Texas.
Hey, you had me look down in my lap.
Smarty, you're in Texas, right?
I want to set y'all up. These pastors get away with telling y'all anything.
Smarty, you're in Texas, right? You're in Texas?
Yeah, I'm in Texas.
Okay, so if you ever visit in Colorado where I'm at, you could come visit our church. It's called Colorado Christian Fellowship. It's a good church.
Yeah, as long as you don't go to, what's that lady, Mary, the lady from Housewives of Salt Lake City. Oh, that's a different state. That's Utah. I'm thinking of Utah. I'm sorry. But
Circumcised,
yeah.
Lake City.
I will definitely come if I'm there, because you guys all know that was the original reason why I started this channel, was to go around to churches and to give the churches a review. But the pandemic happened once I decided to make videos, and God said no, it wasn't the time for me to do that, because that content will go on forever and ever and ever, especially here in Texas, because we have 100 churches in one city. So but I feel like that Pastor Funderburk was he was convicted in his heart, and I'm hoping this is what the case was. He was convicted in his heart. He felt like what he did was wrong, and hopefully he'll come about going about a different way and start funding these worldly desires that he want of his own. I wish that more pastors could be like Paul, Peter, and Jesus, and just go around spreading the word. But church has become a place where people have saw it as an opportunity, unfortunately, and we haven't gotten back to the whole reason of why church is even exists. Somewhere along the years of the lines, people got it twisted and decided, oh, this is an opportunity, but hey, everyone has to pay for their own sins, right? And those that are over people, they have a bigger price to pay than us mere people that just go. Okay, so hopefully he will keep that in mind moving forward, and he'll stop letting his wife write them speeches, because all that word salad was totally unnecessary. And I hope he will get himself a job and get that Movado watch that he wants so badly. Maybe he can start himself a GoFundMe
Or buying
but
Yep. And every preacher wasn't called to preach.
That's right.
yeah,
And then
these
there's a
people
difference between a preacher and a pastor. There
right.
may be good pastors who are a pastor over their flock and be a good pastor, but they might not be the best preacher. And then the best preacher might not be the best pastor, but that doesn't mean that they weren't called to that. But then you also have the individuals who were just trying to get in it because they thought it was slick and they thought they had a slick tongue. So there's a variety. But like I always would tell people, everybody in whatever line of business they are in, they aren't there for the purpose of the business. If you work at the bank, everybody is not there to make sure that the money is getting out right. If you work in manufacturing, everybody's not make sure everything the manufacturing is getting right. If you're in a police department, every police officer is not there to do what they're supposed to do, protect and serve. So no matter what, because there's no different pool of individuals that are being pulled from, there's no different pool. So everybody who's in whatever work line they do, so this doesn't just apply to church or police or whatever, but whatever business that you're in, everybody is not there for the purpose of why the business and why the ministry or whatever exists. So we can't forget that when we are looking at or trying to break down different individual businesses, entities, religions, positions, and so forth. Everybody is not there for the purpose of why that business or entity exists. So we cannot over-exhume ourselves into the purpose or into the mindset that they are there, this is their position, that's what they're supposed to do, because that does not exist in the world, because we're pulling from the same pool of people in the entire world. We're pulling from the same people.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you, panelists, for coming up tonight, and Chris, Gordon, Lex Spades. You guys, Lex Spades has a channel called Lex Spades Life TV. He has one video, and we need to
You
get
can follow.
him monetized.
You can follow me there. You can follow me there, or you can follow me there at the Real Spills podcast or the Real Spills TV and everything.
Type it in the chat.
I will. Before you close, sister, I want to say one thing to your viewers, especially on this topic. And these two gentlemen made a very great point earlier before I got on, and I have to stress it as well. Study for yourself. No matter what you're very welcome. No matter what any pastor does, Christ is always going to be about a personal relationship with you. Study
Absolutely.
to show thyself approved.
Approved.
Do not use your pastor to check the Bible, but always use the Bible to check the pastor. I yield.
Okay.
Wow.
Amen. I like
Amen.
that.
Wow.
Thank you,
I
Lex
just
Page.
subscribed to Lex Page's page.
Lex
Thank you,
Page,
sir.
make sure you subscribe
Page
over
Life
here too.
TV.
Miss Mark
I'm
Cookie,
gonna
I
subscribe to
got something to
everybody.
tell you.
Okay, I'm listening, Gordon.
I got a YouTube. I got a video. I'm gonna send you through your email,
Okay.
and this is very, very powerful. And this is something for men and women to really think about this. Because remember, where you have some men talking about women being are men being alone and all that stuff. Well, I
Yes.
found a video that men now are admitted to themselves about being lonely in the stuff, and it's it's starting to be up a rise right now.
Yes, where they were saying that women were gonna die alone.
Well, of course, women gonna die alone, and so is men gonna die alone. I
That's
mean, what's the
right.
difference?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I got video. I'm gonna send you a mail and really think about it and tell me what your thoughts. If you want to put in the
Send
video,
it
I'll
to
be
me.
happy to talk about in the live chat, and I hope Chris will be there too.
Send it to me, and I'm gonna review it,
Share
and
it.
we're gonna do a video on it.
I
Yep.
got you.
Yep. Share it to
Thank
me.
you, Gordon. Thank you, Chris. Chris, we
All
haven't
right.
seen you in so long. Thank you so much for your insight, your wisdom, and for coming up, because these are things that we need to hear. Ladies need to hear, why are men not coming to church? Would you check someone like Pastor Thunderberg if you was in that church? Would you let him just go on like that?
I
Do we
wouldn't
hold
be at
our
his church.
pastors accountable?
I wouldn't be at his church.
Amen.
I would talk
That
to him before
day,
I leave.
after I heard that, I would no longer attend anymore either. That didn't feel good in my spirit. But um Lex has said his piece. Chris, what would you like to say before you leave in regards to people going to churches?
Make sure that you go into a biblically sound church. Learn the word for yourself, and then participate in church. You're not going to get all the information or knowledge that you need for sitting there. You're there for an hour and a half. A pastor might be speaking for 45 minutes. You're not going to learn everything that you need to know. Go to Sunday school, go to Wednesday night Bible class.
Yes, go to Bible study. Bible study is where you really
Yes,
learn.
yes. And then that way you can have interaction, and then you get something broken down, and then you can ask questions, because hopefully the instructor will have that knowledge. If they don't have it right then and there, they may go get that knowledge from somewhere. And then you be able to also provide an idea that nobody else thought about, which is not against what's biblically sound, but it may be something that nobody ever really thought about or looked at, and be able to share that. And then also bring your kids up in the church, and that'll help with a lot of these problems that we have that is out here for our youth.
Oh yeah, I definitely think that too,
Bring
because
them up.
you gotta raise a child in the right way, so that way they will remember when they're adults, and they'll come back to the church. And also, I heard a guy say this today. He said, if you raise your children right, then you'll spoil your grandchildren. But if you spoil your children, you'll raise your grandchildren.
That's the man. That's the realest
Oh
thing I heard.
man.
That's the
Ooh.
realest thing I heard this evening. One of the realest things. Oh my God.
Yes.
Ooh, I
So
ain't gonna raise my grandbaby.
we're gonna leave off with that. I have this other clip from this pastor, and I would like for y'all to hear this before we get on up out of here, because I just want you guys to be very careful of who you let get in your ear and who you allow to tell you some things. So we're gonna lead out with this, and then I will catch y'all later this week. So let's listen up to this really quick.
Hit me. She just hit me. She just hit me. So we're gonna talk about male harassment. Y'all, please go give her some attention. Please.
Fucking the church members.
Listen.
Pastors. He baptized and
Listen,
fucked me the next day, y'all.
Sean, please call the police, please. gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about.
He called me up here.
We're gonna talk about. She just hit me.
So did y'all hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a pastor and one of his church members. She said he did her right after he baptized her the next day. So, yeah, please be careful, ladies. Please be careful going to these churches. Okay? Do some research on these pastors, especially in these small churches, large churches, whatever. Y'all do your research and y'all stay dangerous this week. And I'll see y'all later. Thank you, everyone.
All right, y'all take care and be safe,
Have
okay?
a good one.
Good night, y'all. Peace and love.
Good night.
Well, all right.